It's the beginning of Week 4 for Final Shape, and Bungie has released the master version of Salvation's Edge, and along with it, the challenge modes as well. This week's challenge is the Scenic Route Challenge, which is the first encounter of the raid, so let's talk about it. So reading the challenge, you'd think, okay, Scenic Route, right? It has something to do with, like, traveling further than normal. Maybe you hop on a plate and can't touch that plate again for a second time consecutively. Maybe something like that. Actually, it has nothing to do with those things at all. The challenge lies in the Overload Minotaurs. Essentially, you break into 2 teams of 3 as normal, and you go into your rooms, and the one thing you're going to look out for is communication. Specifically, you're going to call out when you see an Overload champion. If you're the first team to get an Overload champion, you do not kill that Overload. Instead, you get the second team to spawn in their Overload champion, which would be the second one, and they kill that one instead. Then the first one, the original one, would just despawn and never be killed, and that is how you do the challenge and keep it intact. Otherwise, if you kill the first Minotaur, then it'll just straight up say challenge failed. The main differences while doing this during the fight is really going to just come down to 2 things. Number 1, there's going to be tankier enemies because it's Master, and also they're going to have a bunch of yellow bars in this fight as opposed to on normal where they're orange bars. So they're going to be a bit tankier to deal with, so just bring something that's a little bit on the heavy side. You know, want to bring your rocket sidearm, LMGs, GLs, things like that, just to take out rooms very quickly. The other thing to look out for here is that potentially you're going to be going in extra rooms, and it's going to become a little bit confusing. Maybe some people will get lost, who knows. But essentially the fight is done exactly the same, other than that Minotaur thing that I just mentioned, where you don't kill number 1, and you kill number 2 instead, and then you kill the Tormentor in the middle as normal, and then the Subjugator in the middle as normal for the dunking phase. The one thing you do have to look out for is that people might get confused and or lost during the Obelisk process, where since you did this challenge, you're kind of going to extra rooms, and the Obelisk might spawn in a different room that you would think it normally would. So you have to just track down either the Obelisk plate or the starting plate, so you kind of orient yourself back to in place, so to speak. Truthfully, it's not that difficult. Once you get 1 or 2 runs in and you understand that you're just doing the encounter with 1 extra step, it'll just start coming to you very quickly. And as long as you're doing an efficient pathway where you're not taking too much time in a single room, you'll still have like 2+ minutes where you have to go search for the Obelisk plate or the regular plate after you've dealt with the Tormentor / Subjugator, so you'll be fine. As long as you divide your mini-team of 3 into 2 different directions once you're inside your location, one of you is bound to run into one of the plates that you need, and once they do, they can just call it out, and you meet up with them, you know where it goes from there, and you just continue the fight as normal. Now, as for any particular master tips here, again, nothing's really changed with the enemies. There's just more yellow bars that you have to kill rather than orange bars. But I will say that bringing Microcosm into your heavy slot is going to make your life so much easier when you're dealing with the Tormentor and the Subjugators, where it just cooks them alive with 0 effort. Also, a good thing to keep in mind is that for overcharged weapons, kinetic weapons actually do increase damage now when your super element matches any active surge, and the active surge this week is Solar and Void. Basically, the 2 best surges you want to have for this raid, so you can still put on Microcosm and cook things as if there was a kinetic surge the whole time. Anyway, that's it. Nice and short. Keep your comms clear. Call out who's the first Minotaur so you don't kill that Overload, and instead you kill the second one, and then you should be fine. And by the way, once you do complete the encounter and you get the Adept Weapon drop, just note that these Adept Weapons can drop with 3 perks in Column 3 and 3 perks in Column 4, so you can ideally, if you're lucky, get 6 total perks out of those 2 columns alone, and that's pretty nutty, considering the original Adept Weapons used to just give you 1 perk each and told you to go F yourself. Anyway, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed, and this guide helped you. If you did enjoy, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and is much appreciated, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.